Mr. Weider, you came to FIBO. What is FIBO for you and your company?
Well, FIBO is the biggest and the greatest sports and fitness fair there is in all of Europe and probably the whole world, as a matter of fact. So it's a must-be place. You have to be here if you're in this business. Yes.
Is it only job or also a little bit fun?
Oh, it's fun. If you love your job, it's fun. So, I grew up in this business from the time I was a little boy, and I love it, so it's fun. And it's fun for me to see the employees see the rewards of all their hard work. There's a lot of work that goes into a show like this, so I enjoy seeing them and appreciating them for the work they've done.
Weider is a big company, and Weider in Germany is a part of it at the end, a big part of it. And Weider is carrying a name which is a meaning of family business. So what is the family, what kind of role plays the family in your business?
Well, we do think of ourselves as a family business so that we are entrepreneurial, that we are accessible to the employees. We're not some big bureaucracy where the employees don't know who is the owner, and it's kind of like a faceless company. So here, the employees and myself, and before me, my father and my uncle have regular contact with the employees, and it's a family environment, and it's a more entrepreneurial environment as well. So when we make a decision to do something, we can get it done fast. And it's just it's fun as well to be in a family business.
You grew up with this company since you were young, and your father, your uncle started it a lot of years ago. It's now 80th anniversary, and what about the history of the last, not 80 years of course, but maybe 30, 40 years you can remember? What was the development?
Well, of course, it started off very small. It started off in the 1936 when my uncle started to do personal training of people. I think he must have been the first personal trainer. My uncle grew up in the Great Depression. It was a very poor time, and he had to leave school and educate himself. And it was also a bit of a rough neighborhood that he grew up in, and he didn't want to be bullied. So one day he saw a magazine with a picture of a weightlifter, Eugene Sandow, and that inspired him. And so he started to exercise, and people were impressed. They said, "Wow, what are you doing to be so strong?" And so he started to train people. And then that led to, he said, "Well, I can only train so many people. Maybe I'll start a magazine, and I can reach many more people that way." And so it started in 1940 with his first magazine, Your Physique. And it started very slowly. The first 30 or 40 years were difficult because exercise was not taken seriously, even by doctors. They thought it was something silly that only weird people did. And they would even warn you against exercising. You'll become muscle bound, or you'll get an athlete's heart, or the muscle will turn to fat. All these old stereotypes, which were crazy. So my father and Joe had to battle these for 30 or 40 years. It was only around 1980, or actually the mid-70s, when Arnold started to become popular too, that people began to become more receptive and interested in exercise and fitness. So it's an 80-year history. The modern history is maybe 30 years old, 40 years old, since around 1980 time frame.
And you talked about the 80s when your father and your uncle asked Arnold, took Arnold to the United States of America. What was that time? Arnold coming to America, I think nobody expected the success which was coming out of this afterwards, right?
Well, it's interesting. In the early 1960s, Joe knew that he needed a superstar for bodybuilding to. He said every sport needs a hero, and he hadn't seen the hero yet. And one day he told me this story. He made a drawing of what the hero would look like. And then in the late 1960s, he saw Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it looked just like his drawing. And he said, "That's my superstar, that's the hero." And so he invited him to come to America. He brought him to Los Angeles and helped him, with his training and his apartment, and encouraged him to go to school to get a degree, and put him on the covers of the magazines. And of course, together they were a fantastic team. They both brought something to make the other one more successful. So Arnold became the star Joe was looking for, and Joe was the vehicle that Arnold needed to become a star. So it was a perfect relationship.
I think relationship and team building is a big part of the success of your company, of course. But also, I think a little bit the spirit of innovation, a lot of ideas, thinking not only the straight way, but sometimes thinking left, thinking right. this spirit of innovation, is this still the thing where you're going for these days?
It's the innovation is really the most important thing, because to survive for 80 years, it's a series of continuously reinventing the company. So it's an 80-year-old company, but we still feel like we're a young and energetic company because we're constantly in the process of reinventing ourselves. If you just sit there on your success, you will not make it for a long time. So yes, innovation is the key. We have to reinvent ourselves, and to have innovation, you have to have great people. And to have great people, you have to have a great culture, and you have to allow people to take risks. And to do that, you can't punish people for taking risks as long as they aren't being stupid about it. But you have to have a culture that says taking risks is okay, but we have to do it in a controlled way so that we don't destroy the business if we make a mistake. But yes, the innovation and the culture of innovation is the key to longevity.
The days are changing in the fitness branch, I call it branch, or industry. More and more the health spirit is coming into this fitness business and fitness sports. How does your company react on this development?
It's a very important point you make, because in the beginning, it always starts off with the most serious athletes, and then it spreads to more regular people who don't necessarily want to compete at that level, but they want to have some of the benefits of feeling healthier, looking healthier, and living better. So it does spread like that, and we react to that by trying to develop products to meet everybody's needs. So, for example, at this FIBO show, you'll see new products that we've developed for serious athletes and bodybuilders. But as well, we have what we call functional foods, or better for you nutrition. Things like taking the traditional chocolate spread that people put on their pancakes or their toast and enhancing it with protein and reducing the sugar. So this is an example of a way a regular person can incorporate better nutrition in their lives without having to change their routine and without having to sacrifice taste, and they can improve their nutrition. So we try to have products for both kinds of people: the serious athletes, the casual athlete, and just the regular person who would like to have some nutrition, but they don't want to invest hours and hours studying all the details. So our gummy vitamins are another example. You know, the gummy bear is a great innovation that came out of Germany. And but in the United States, some people realize that might be a nice way to deliver vitamins to people. Well, the gummy vitamins have been completely dominating the vitamin industry in the United States for the last 5 years. And Weider is pioneering that now here in Europe, and we believe it's going to be very big here. Because people don't like to take pills, especially children and seniors as well. So we think the gummy vitamins are fantastic, and we're just bringing back to Germany what you brought to America with the gummy bear. We just added some vitamins in it.
Good idea. We'll see how it works. What is about your company is spread all over the world, and you travel all around the world and visit your daughter companies or your partners, and you see how the development of the markets are. What are the differences between, for example, Europe and the States or Europe and Asia? I think there are some difference, even if the human itself is working all over the world the same way.
Well, there are definitely regional differences that are very largely culturally driven, but I think that is less and less these days as media becomes international. So if you lived in Korea in the 1950s, you were very isolated in terms of your awareness of what was going on in the rest of the world. Today you go on the internet and you can see what's going on. So the regional and the cultural boundaries are breaking down faster than they used to. But typically what happens is when it comes to fitness and health and nutrition, a lot of the trends start in places like California, and then they spread across the United States, they come into Europe, and then they spread into Asia and also into the Middle East. But here's a good example. In many parts of the Middle East, it would be inappropriate even today for women to exercise. That is culturally something that is going to take a while to break down. But only in the 1960s and 70s, it was culturally inappropriate for women to exercise in the United States. I was reading in a book that Jacqueline Onassis, or Jacqueline Kennedy, the wife of the president, used to exercise, but she did so in secret because she was embarrassed for people to know. So you see, these things do break down. Sometimes it takes longer, but they do eventually change. And eventually these trends, take place everywhere.
in the imagination of the people, or the image of Weider is connected somehow to the athletics sports, the fitness sports. And now we're talking about the health development, which is I think, quite strong in Europe, especially in Germany. Do you think about, changing or adapting the Weider's direction of appearance in the market, to these new developments, maybe from one country or from one continent to the others in another way?
Oh, we believe in that strongly. Our motto is that we're a global brand, but we act locally. So in every country or in each continent, there's different tastes, different distribution channels, different product forms that are acceptable or not acceptable. So we try to have offices in different regions of the world. So our head office is in the United States, but we have an office in Hamburg, we have an office in Madrid. In Taiwan, we have a joint venture partnership with a Taiwanese company, and this is what allows us to be in sync with the local needs so that we can adapt our products and we can adapt our distribution systems to the local country. We're a very big believer in that. So we like to take the best practices and spread them all over from one country to the next. If you look at an internal email at Wieder, you'll see 20 people copied on it from 10 different countries. So we're always sharing information. There could be people in Germany and Taiwan and Canada, the United States, and Turkey copied on the same email. So we're sharing information. So we like to share best practices, but we always try to adapt to the local markets. In Japan, for example, the best-selling product we have anywhere in the world is called Wieder in Jelly. It's a jelly drink in a foil pouch that wouldn't be popular almost anywhere else. But that product form, that jelly consistency, is very popular in Japan. So that's an example of adapting to local markets.
So I know that you're involved or in a kind of a, I don't know, is it a private interest, more than a hobby in historic themes. You're publishing historic magazines, and so you know a lot about the history. You're interested in these topics, and I think the man who knows the history knows maybe also the future. I think it is important to know these things, and you see the actual days, but of course you have to look through the history. Can you give us a view to the future, in your opinion? Where does the fitness branch, where does the world go?
Well, I think your point is well taken, that by looking at the past you can, if not predict, you can at least have an understanding of how things might happen in the future. I think there's no question that the path of health and fitness is to continue to broaden and expand. Gym membership in Germany, for example, has grown dramatically. More people participate going to the gym in Germany today than practice football training, for example. That's hard to believe. And this is only going to continue to grow. So people want to live better. They know they can live longer and live healthier because of what we talked about before, access to information from anywhere in the world. And this trend of health and fitness becoming mainstream is going to inevitably continue. In some countries faster than others, but it's going to continue. There's no question about it.
Thank you very much. We wish you all the best for your company and, of course, for our branch, because you're a big part of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, and congratulations on your fantastic publications, and much success to you.